permit. That piece of land permit, I already know all about this one, but so talk away.
You wanna kick this off?
Kick it off, Peter.
Kick it off, Peter.
All right, so, on August 21st, we received a grading permit application for the Mineral Beach Planned Residential Development, which is, off of 88 there at Walter Long Road. Before we received that grading permit application, we had a couple conference calls going back and forth with the developer. Our office reviewed their grading permit. We issued a letter on August 31st, which had our comments. I'm not going to go one by one through each of the comments, but the major issue, the major obstacle that in terms of the way our office sees it, is with accessing and utilizing Walter Long Road. Their past approvals, everything that we've seen in meeting minutes, looks like their approvals were contingent upon improving Walter Long Road from SR 88 all the way up the hill to Walter Long Manufacturing, where there was going to be some semblance of a turnaround at the top of the hill. However, the problem being there is no signed agreement that has been provided to Union Township by the developer to utilize Walter Long Road. It currently exists as a private drive. NVR, Ryan Holmes, the developer, they have not provided the township with a signed easement agreement that they could access Walter Long Road to access their parcel, and then B, improve Walter Long Road to township specifications so that we can ultimately take it over. So in my mind, this is a major obstacle.
Well, the thing about it is the lower portion of Walter Long Road is owned by the federal government.
Correct.
It
And
was
the top.
It was condemned in 1954. So from 88 to Blossom Road, Blossom Lane, it's quote a public road, but it's not a township road.
Correct.
And then that portion from Blossom Lane up to Walter Long is a private road, which Mr. Long purchased from the federal government a long time ago.
That's correct. So
the problem that we were having is there was supposedly a notice of intent in 2019 for the developer at that time to purchase the road or whatever, but according to today, we had some conversations with the Long brothers, who said basically that no one has the right to use that road. However, now you showed me some type of text message from the developer saying you'll have a written agreement, or he has a written agreement?
yeah, I haven't spoken directly to Kevin, Mr. Braun. He did inform me right before our meeting here that he's spoken to the Longs and they're working on signing an agreement to use.
Something like that this afternoon.
Well, that text came in at like 5:55. So I don't like the fact that Kevin Braun texts me on my personal phone either. I wish he would send me an email or call me, but that's beside the point.
David Long must have really did it.
We don't know yet.
Turn,
We're
because
assuming.
he was pretty adamant this afternoon.
So the crux of the problem is, we've been asked to review and ultimately approve a grading permit that the applicant's shown no proprietary interest to even access his parcel.
So they paid the application fee?
Oh, no, have they paid the fee?
No, not now.
But before the issue, before issue permit, should they pay the fee or something?
Sure.
Yeah.
I haven't, this was just recently, but I haven't even gotten to looking over all that they did with.
What's the fee for this? Do you have an idea?
I have to look at the case with how much.
Harold handles the fees. I just review the
Once he
ordinance.
approves it, then I'll go look at what the cost is and make sure it's
Well,
okay.
then-
We haven't capitalized it,
All right, so if he has a written agreement to access the road, are we going to issue a permit?
Well, I think that's a starting point. Basically there's two different ownerships, right? The federal government portion from the state road to Bloxham Lane, which includes a culvert, carrying that unnamed tributary to Peters Creek, which is old and in need of repair. So there's that issue, and then there's the issue of, once you're above Bloxham Lane going up the hill, that road in its entirety is a part of the Walter Long parcel. It should be subdivided off, carved off, and that right of way dedicated to the township in the future. But until then, there needs to be a signed easement agreement, in my opinion, to use that.
I don't know, one second, I don't know if what I do sometimes, we have a right of entry. I think that would be sufficient, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably defer to you in terms of
'Cause we do
whether
that-
you
we
think
do-
we have sufficient proprietary interest. I mean,
Well, if they give a right of entry and have, because it'd be too different, I mean, he could give an easement, I mean, he could do that tomorrow if he wanted to.
correct.
But we have to see what the agreement is.
Right.
David Long says that his water line and sewer line run along that road. And if those got damaged, that would be terrible for him. But if that bridge got damaged, it would be
Well, that
catastrophic to his.
That culvert, there's a metal pipe in there, and the bottom part,
He
that's
said
already
if-
rotted out.
He said if that got damaged, it would be catastrophic to Walter Long manufacturing.
Right.
He said
That
the
would-
water line and sewer line would be bad. He said, and I understand, he said, I'm not trying to be, I have heavy trucks that go up that road, but they're not going off and onto the road on top of my sewer line.
Right.
So we issued 2 letters on this. The first is our review of the grading permit, which has all of our comments in here. The second is through previous conversations, we talked about doing a culvert assessment, right? So we went out, took a look at this culvert. The upstream end wall has considerable concerns over it. It's cracked, it's misaligned,
Been that way. It's been that way since I owned
How
that
many
property.
trucks are we roughly
It's in bad shape.
estimating? How many trucks are we roughly estimating?
There'll be many trucks going in and out of there to do
Develop.
construction, to move the amount of earth that he's
Hundreds.
talking about moving. Yeah.
I also talked, I think I sent you an email later today, talked to the state about the permit and all that also. And I told Michelle before he was walking in, Kirschbaum and Richard Marker told me that 2019, 2020, that, what's this guy's name, Renzel? He submitted a traffic study with an application for an HOP, and the HOP didn't have property information, which is what you need to get a permit.
Correct.
And after 6 months had passed, the permit, the application expired because of inactive one.
He had no ownership in the
couldn't get-
road, he couldn't get an HOP for a road he had no ownership in.
So my thought process is, I'm not comfortable making a recommendation to the township to issue a grading permit until we've seen a copy of the agreement that has been signed by both parties. As Dennis has reviewed it and he's satisfied that
thought-
we have enough proprietary interest that they can actually do what they're proposing to do.
Because I think I spoke to the Long Brothers at lunchtime, then we had a conference call. I can't remember what time it was after lunch.
Yeah,
They
1
weren't-
o'clock today.
They weren't too happy. What's that?
I'll bet they.
Well, they
They
said,
said-
well, they said during the conversation that no one has spoken to them for the past 4 years.
They were approached by a supervisor in 2019 that the township wanted to take over the road, which they were happy with, because they wouldn't have to salt it or maintain it. And they told them all about
Pay
how it's
someone.
gonna be widened, and there's gonna be cul-de-sac, and they were willing to sign it over to the township for $1 for all of those improvements. And they said that even at that time, they were concerned with their water and sewer line. Because if you widen it, you're going over the water and sewer line.
Right.
Alright, so,
Included with this decision that you're making with the grading, because they also wanted to turn in to get a demo permit for all the buildings for Mineral Beach there, which is tied into the same.
now I understand there's also something about the sewage, isn't there? Capping the sewer line?
Yeah, the last, as of a couple of days ago, they hadn't capped off the sewer with Peters Creek Sanitary. And they were requesting money because they're behind on their escrow, which they say that's not their escrow, that's the other developer's escrow. But Peters Creek is not willing to review a thing for them until the state.
Harold raises a good point. Should we have the same concerns over issuing the demo permit for the demolition that's on that property?
what's the concerns about that, traffic?
The fact that they haven't proved to us that they have a public means to access their piece of
I
property.
don't think they can, I mean, right now, they don't have, unless we see something shortly, they don't have any public access,
Correct.
which is another
You
issue.
might be able to get temporary access from Joe Lissani, come in that way, just for the demolition. He probably wants to
Because
get rid of that
probably, you know,
anyway.
by the
but
beach house.
They can get by
That's
the
what I'm
beach house,
saying.
they
He
don't
probably
have
wants
to
to get rid of
access
that
the thing, I
anyway.
was just,
He's,
But I
Okay,
guess
so-
we wanna see a written copy
some,
before
that
we
he
do
gets
anything.
somewhere.
So what do you need from us tonight? Nothing?
I don't think I'm not comfortable doing anything until we see an agreement
Agreement.
from them. that
But if we
they-
see the agreement that's satisfactory to me, then we can issue the permit.
If you and I agree that they've got enough proprietary interest to do what they wanna do, then I think we've got a different conversation, but until we have
I don't
a
know if we
copy
have
of that,
enough.
then
We have
there's,
enough.
I'm not comfortable making a recommendation to the board, no,
And
absolutely
just-
not.
Just as an update, I talked to Andrew Kuzma and we was talking to Guy Rothenstein to see about getting that. The federal government's not gonna release it to the longs because there's the side road that would cut off access. The only person that possibly stands a chance to get access to the beginning of Walker Long is the township.
What I don't
So,
is,
they're at least looking into how that would happen, and if we want that to happen. I don't know if it can happen, but.
alright. Okay, so when we get something tomorrow, I guess you and I'll have, discuss it along with, maybe if we have to do telephone conference call with all the supervisors.
Sure. Yeah, I'll request that they send us a copy of the agreement as soon as they can, we can go from there.
Okay?
It's a mess.
it's a road.
Now they're doing booty calls for engineering.
Football game.
Okay,
Okay,
what's next?
we're down to a